Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Manoj Atri, real estate agent with Remax Hallmark. Tonight, your host, and we just have a new subscriber, Adam. So, congratulations for joining our channel, and we plan to get you the latest updates as much as possible on your real estate venture. And let me take a hi from our expert mortgage broker, Faisal Garcia. Hi, Faisal.
Hello, sir, and hello to our audience.
Wonderful. Adan just joined. So that is a new subscriber. And just to update you, so we are at this moment, I am showing up on Twitter and I am showing up on Facebook and YouTube. So, in case if someone can give us a yes, if they can hear us, that'll be great. So that would be my request, and we can then take it from there. Feel free, Faisal. Go ahead, sir. How was your day?
How was my day? I need a minute to think about that.
Go ahead,
It
Faisal.
was Monday, uh,
Yes,
long, cold.
yes.
I wouldn't say long, but it was cold, and yeah, long meeting days for sure.
Okay.
After the weekend, Monday is usually the day where a lot of data comes in,
Okay.
documents and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of receiving and sorting it out and making sure other details go out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a day.
I'll just
How was
update.
your day?
I'll just update you. Yeah. I'll just update you. Because of COVID now, some of the areas have opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So my office has opened up after a long time, and we were like literally struggling because where to go and meet clients, new clients, because see, everyone is not comfortable with sharing a lot of these IDs and documents online.
Yeah.
They would still prefer to meet in person and where to meet. So I checked up with my office today, and they said yes, you're good to go. So that is positive news, and we'll be picking up some prospects on the whole, and in the coming days, so we'll be able to meet them. And I hope this would be the last
Lockdown
stopover,
we have.
last lockdown. So I hope that is where we are. Go ahead. Anything more to add?
No. um, Rates are moving up, fixed interest rates.
Oh, no more 0.99.
That offer is still there. Variables haven't moved up, but the fixed have moved up.
Fixed up,
Ev-
moved up.
al- Actually, I should say almost every lender has.
Okay. Positive. Thank you very much. We just got a response from Kumar, uh, and they can hear us. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So let's go on moving. Pick up the agenda. Okay. So you were saying the fixed rates have gone up.
Yes.
How much?
15, about 10 to 15 basis points on each lender level.
Okay.
So they're pushing close to 2 now for
Uh,
fixed rates.
okay. So they were earlier at 1.5. The general thumb rule was,
Yes,
but now they're going to close to 2.
close to, yeah, just under 2 or close.
Okay. Have they already gone up, or they are in the process of going up?
No, most about 90% of the lenders have gone up.
So if even a new person comes, there is no chance you can get the earlier ones.
No.
So they stick with the variable that may work.
Variable, yeah, because fixed have gone up, but I'm not sure if they will stay up.
What do you mean? That they'll come down back, or they'll go further up?
It's possible, and it has happened more than 3 times in last 10 years.
They're going down or up?
They So right now they've moved up,
Mhm.
but it does not mean it will stay up. It may come down, and
So
it has happened in last 10 years 3 times.
And what do you perceive? What would have been the reason they're going up?
The expectation of vaccine making our economy normal,
Okay,
that's a huge one. Um, and there are multiple vaccines coming out, not
okay.
just one.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
So
expectation.
expectation for things going normal.
Yes.
Okay, that is, and in order, like that is the same way. I am going to start with my monologue. Okay, so let me head up and give me a start to my monologue today. Let me pick up from there, Faisal, and I'll get back to you as soon as I give the agenda of the day to our audience, and we take it from a moment here. Again, uh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining, and let me walk you through our agenda of the day, and so we know where we are and where we're going to go. I'll start with my real estate monologue, and I will be walking you through condo market will come back with a fury. So that's a slide which I had also emailed. I'm going to pick up a brief on this particular one, and then we are going to pick up an article for review. The main article is being a landlord sucks, but we are going to pick up one of the subtitles there, 30 steps to buying and managing rentals. And our expert will be able to give us quite an input here because he's himself quite a good investor and has had good experience with the rentals. Next one is rent to own homes. Is it a win-win for landlords? Yes, it is. But I will still give you a complete brief on that particular one. And live interview with our mortgage expert. He's going to be there with us till 8 o'clock, and he has to exit at that stage. And I will continue if we are running on some topics which we have not covered by then. What do you have to say to this particular Pfizer?
Lots of juicy stuff.
Let me pick it up from condo market. Will come back with a few. What do you have to add to that, and why would I we wanting to pick up on this particular just one for a brief moment? What can you fathom?
Condos are predominantly in, like, when I think of condo, I think of downtown.
Mhm,
Downtown, when I think of downtown, I think of location.
mhm,
And a long time ago, I heard real estate is location, location, location.
mhm,
That tells me supply and demand.
mhm,
There will be demand, and the demand, like right now, there is supply because
mhm,
of Airbnb and the COVID situation and so on and so forth.
mhm,
But with these vaccines coming out, and you know from what I am hearing, things are vaccine is helping.
mhm,
um, it's pretty successful so far. So if it is successful, which means things will go back to normal, which also means condo will go back to fury.
absolutely. You picked up a couple of very good points there. Let me give you a complete synopsis, see if you can comprehend this. Faisal, the condo market was on a crazy format some 1 or 2 years ago, before COVID struck. Okay? When COVID struck, the main problem occurred was Airbnb went down completely. And the rise of the condos was also because of Airbnb. So when COVID struck, Airbnb went completely down and out. So the investors, all those investors who were holding multiple units with Airbnb, they just gave it away. And now that scenario is may come back because it's Airbnb is not going to be the same format that it used to be earlier. but it will come back in some shape or the other. And second thing is, detached properties are absolutely townhouses, detached freehold properties are absolutely out of the equation in the Toronto GTA. So they are left in the outskirts. So only the condos are left there. So that is one reason the supply is in this particular price range. I mean, let's say suppose if you're trying to buy something for less than $500,000, there is nothing there. So the only some pockets of condos are left. That is all. So if a person does not qualify on the basis of his income, he's left out of choices there. So they are also going to jump into the market, whatever it is. Whatever is left, let's grab that. And then Airbnb also may come back. And the third one is the low interest rates. Now, even if the interest rates have gone all the way up to 2, they are still much, very, very competitive. So these two, three factors, because now condos are the only things left. So that is the reason it may come back with a few. And it has already seen some format in Vancouver. So that is whenever I am going through all these articles and sending it over to the subscribers on a regular basis. I see the Vancouver trend, and most of the time, whatever trend is going on there, it gets passed on here. And that is what we are seeing in Vancouver, and it is going to get passed on here. So we are expecting a condo market to come back with a fury. So for those who are sitting on the sidelines before the interest rates goes up, before things become more normal, and then things go out of whack completely. I mean, with COVID, we were expecting things will go down, but the real market, state market, has completely gone in a completely different direction. And I was reading this; they wanted to control the market, and they couldn't control it. It went wild. But
So in COVID, the only thing we could do is stay inside the home.
that's true. Yes.
So so the value of home in our own hearts went up,
Yes.
right? Before, the value of our home was, okay, I come home at 6 o'clock, I relax a little bit, eat, go to bed, wake up, and I go to work.
Yep.
The value of home was there for relaxation, sleep, family time, sort of, uh, you know, sort of thing. All of a sudden, the work was also put into that value.
True.
So, of course, everyone thought that now, if I can work from home, why don't I buy a bigger home?
Makes sense.
Right? Like I've seen many clients that have gone from condo to a detached home with a basement, so they could turn the basement into their workspace.
So, yeah. And whatever extra spaces were lying at the home, they've been occupied now.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, and the main thing here is people earlier used to think, we sell this one, go and pick up another property. Now they're renovating and things like that. They're sticking there. It is going to the next level.
Yeah. The
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
guest rooms are no longer there because guests are not coming. And now it has become into an office.
Yes. No more guests. In case if they're coming, no, they're sleeping in an office now. Okay. Faisal, let's pick up the article of the day. Now, this article is going to be very interesting, Faisal. You are going to like this one, okay? This article is by Barbara Friedberg, Personal Finance, and this is like a probably she writes a blog or something, and this is one of her topics that she had picked up. Being a landlord sucks. Should I invest in real estate? Okay. Now I'm covering it like not the whole article, but a very subtitle on this particular one. Okay, so anyone can read this whole particular one, and I want to catch everyone's attention to this particular one, which is 30 steps to buying and managing rental real estate. And we're trying to go through these particular topics and see if it makes any sense. What do you have to say about the headline, Faisal? It's being a landlord sucks.
Nothing comes easy.
Nothing comes easy. Yes, that is true. But I mean, how has your experience been as a landlord? I mean, overall experience.
Bittersweet.
Okay. Next, you have covered in a very diplomatic way the whole thing. Okay.
Um, I will say most times it's normal. When it is out of normal, it is difficult to handle.
Major
And
challenge. Huh?
yeah, but it's not often.
Okay.
It's not often. But when those challenges come, they're big challenges. And if you don't know how to handle, you can be wiped off.
Okay. So it can become a disastrous situation.
You have to work with professionals.
Okay.
That's all yeah.
Okay. I will let's go one by one and see if we can how fast we can wrap up the 30 points. Search through many real estate listings and visit potential properties. Okay, let's give my input on that particular one. This is what I would generally give it to my prospective buyers before they become landlords and would like to indulge into it. Narrow down a particular area and go and see every listing that is available in that particular area. Even if you like it, even if you don't like it, immaterial of that fact. You, whenever you see a particular property, you are able to assess whether what is the condition of that property, what is the value of that property, what is the requirements of that particular, how many bedrooms are there, what is the washrooms there, how does that property show, and then what is it listed for down the line, what it's sold for, so you get a good idea, even if you don't qualify for it, or even if you don't like that particular property. So before purchasing your own, narrow down the area, and within that area, just go and see all properties. Because whatever property you indulge in, you may have to stick there for 4 or 5 years. What do you have to say on that?
Absolutely.
It cannot go simpler than that.
No.
Okay. Let's head over to the second point. Meticulously analyze the potential income and expenses of each property, making sure to allow plenty of cash for unexpected repairs and vacancies. Absolutely a must. You should be able to carry that particular property on your own, even if you have rented it out, because you do not know when they stop paying the rent. And when they stop paying the rent, by the time you grasp of the whole situation, it is 5 6 months down the line. What do you have to say on that?
Yeah. You need either you need to be able to manage that, and you need savings or a line of credit or
Yes,
something to
access
sort of
to funds.
access to funds.
That in case if something goes wrong, I can handle this property for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Because if you're running penny to penny or dollar to dollar, no, it won't work. And work out all your details very, very thoroughly and keep margins for error. 100% problems are going to come. It is not going to be a smooth sail. Okay, let's uh, head to the next one. Complete reams of paper when applying for a loan. I constantly tell my clients these days, get ready for the paperwork. They'll ask you for the first set of paperwork. Then the next set of paperwork, and more paperwork, and more paperwork, because the banks are going to be thorough. They would like to make sure they are giving the mortgage to the right person, and he is giving them the right information, and they're able to double check from each and every angle. You can highlight input more on this particular one. Go ahead.
Documents and cross check and clarify, and it's all there. Has to be.
Yes, do your complete homework. It is, and the more you do homework, and the more you are prepared thoroughly, it is then easy. Otherwise, it's going to get difficult, because at the last minute, then you will be struggling for each and every other one. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Analyze records of current owner before purchase. Have the judgment and experience to recognize whether the owner records are accurate. Utility companies check taxes and things like that. I think so, Faisal. She may be giving us lots of heads up on the basis of maybe the US scenario, and or something else. But yes, make sure that the seller is on the title, and the utility bills and things like that. Just make sure that the lawyer checks up all those thoroughly and they are properly adjusted, and all the liens and everything, work orders and everything, they have been taken care of. It should not be like a surprise what's going on. Go ahead, Faisal.
Yeah, checking up the property makes a huge difference.
And taxes also.
And taxes, because you have to pay.
Yes,
if they
because
haven't paid.
yeah. In case if they haven't paid, the government will send you the information,
Yeah.
and then you can fight it out. But at that moment, you may end up paying. So you
And it
need to
takes a
have,
while.
and it takes a while, and things takes a while. Yes, and just to update you, Faisal, that's what we are running on all three channels: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I have just said this, and you can expect a glitch coming very soon. Okay. Yes, fine. The next one is make an offer on a prospective property and negotiate until either your offer is accepted or rejected. That is a good one, which used to be there for some period of time, not anymore. In case if today you manage to get a hold of a property, you'll be lucky. The scenarios in the market have completely changed. It is a different real estate today. What do you have to add to that, person?
Absolutely. But that also goes to say that when it comes time to rent that property as a landlord, you have lots of choices. You have, yeah, the rent, yeah, depending on what the the market is. I've seen rent can be pushed up.
Faisal, if you have done your homework correctly, you had a good pre-approval, you have the down payment, you have your income qualification, all those things have been sorted out beforehand, and you have all your numbers crunched, whether for the next 5 months, 6 months, whatever, how you're going to run this particular property. That is what is the due diligence thing. And if that can be handled properly, then now, here, you have to make sure that, if possible, go for new tenants, not for the older ones. What do you have to say?
I don't know about going for new tenants depending on what the circumstances are. But
You mean to say accept the existing tenants?
see, sometimes there is no choice,
Okay.
right? But most times, if you can get the property vacant, that is an ideal scenario.
See,
Now, you would know more about that than me, but if it is vacant, you can start with a clean piece of paper
see what?
versus.
Yeah, you are correct. I'm more inclined towards the new tenants.
Mhm.
The reason being, the existing ones, anything goes wrong, they come back and tell you, no, we used to do this with this old landlord, and now you're stuck like crazy.
Got it.
So with the new tenants, you have a new lease, and you have come before them, so you have a more say than they have a more say. Now, when the utilities, common areas, and things like that, when they are getting shared,
Hmm.
he may be pouncing on you. He'll be more like a landlord to you than you to him,
True. True.
because he has been there quite a while. He knows everything. Because, see, if anything goes wrong, the first thing that you will do is go and ask him, how do you handle this? So he starts getting an upper hand, and then he starts taking advantage of that. So,
True.
and then you cannot come up with a new lease. You may have to work with the older lease, and the older lease may not work in your favor.
Hmm.
So those are some of the things that, in case if you're looking into it, have it. Until and unless you are very confident, no matter what he does, I can handle it.
True.
Depends upon how pro of a landlord you are, and those things can change.
True.
Okay, let's head over. How are you finding the first 5 points on the certificate?
Good. Very good.
Very good. Okay, let's pick up the next one. If you cannot come to an agreement on price and term, move on and start the process over. Perfectly said. You, from my point of view, should be prepared for five, six, seven offers, and then you finally get one offer in the running in this market. Uh, it's a seller's market. You cannot dictate these terms these days. Yes, down the line, if it becomes a buyer's market, yes, you can do that. But if it's a seller market, you don't have terms and conditions. You should be lucky enough if you can procure a property these days. And they're going wild. The market at this moment, Faisal, it's crazy. There are on each and every offer at least 8 or 10 offers. I'll give you a
True.
latest update. A property, uh, the general, I'll give you some synopsis here, okay? They are going between 700 and 705 was the maximum that had got sold last. Okay? 705. And the property which was 705, $100,000, was fully renovated. Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay. Now the property is listed around the 599, 600 mark. There are almost 6, 7 offers there.
Hmm.
And this one is not renovated. So it is again 50, $60,000 more input in there. Okay? Hear me out there. And they get offers above the 725 mark, even 730, 735, 740 mark. And can you imagine what did the landlord do? Seller do? They rejected all offers and they gave us an input, come up with 750 or it started. So at 750, you would be paying 45 above plus another 55 for the renovation, 100K above asking. Not possible. But that is what is there in the market. This is one scenario. I'm just giving you just the latest going on in the market. That is the expectations. Now, I'll give you another input here. What is going on in the market right now? Earlier, whenever you used to see a listing and you used to see a price change, you always accepted the price has gone down. It's a different price change. If you see a price change, the price has increased. This is what is the latest going on. Do you want to add something to it?
I remember us doing that.
No, but what we used to do is we used to come up with a new listing. But the main thing here is this is what is
it was a
happening.
it was a rental property. I do remember that.
Yes. So this is what is going on right. Okay, let's catch hold of the next point ahead. After the initial offer is accepted, follow on all the property inspection to make sure the real estate is in expected condition. Absolutely. This is, I have said nth number of times, even if you are going into a multiple offer situation and if you're very good, you're like, no, I am going to get it. Spend the $400, $500, get the pre-inspection done. Or if they have a pre-inspection, ask your inspector to come and have a look at it at even half the price. He may be able to walk you through. You don't need a report or something, and get it done if you have an interest, because you do not know what is the surprise like.
Absolutely.
We have a good idea, but we are not the home inspector. So it is in absolutely in everyone's interest to make sure that that is addressed. A home inspection is 100% requirement, and don't indulge in these multiple offer situations when you can handle those things, because what is coming next you do not know.
Mhm.
Go ahead, I'll add something else to it.
No, I don't think I have anything to add actually.
Faisal, I was reading an article recently, and this is like a huge case, and I did send it to all my subscribers too, that someone purchased a property and the home inspection was also done,
Mhm.
and down the line it came to know that the house is uninhabitable. It cannot be occupied. They sued the city. Yes, we did the home inspection, but the structural changes and things like whether that building can stand or not, it looked okay. But then down the line, it started creeping in and it became an issue. And they had gone to such a depth that they sued the city, that how could the city even give a permit with all these defaults? And they got lucky there.
Hmm.
So this is when even you have done some basic homework, then also some things can come. Now try to imagine you haven't done anything, and how many things can go wrong. And it can be a life-changing event. If
Absolutely.
anything goes wrong to a major sense, we don't expect things to be. But then, when you hear one story or the other, anything can come into it. Go ahead, Faisal, what you have to say about the home inspection part?
Home inspection is a must, and having the right people on your team makes it much easier.
Absolutely. Okay, let's read you out the next one. If repairs are needed, negotiate with the seller about completing the repairs or reducing the purchase price. I have a different take on this particular. Even before you put your offer, you get my point. Negotiate accordingly that these are the repairs that may be coming. Because once the offer is gone, then negotiating sometimes doesn't work. And now you've already spent $400-500 with the home inspector. You're also stuck in there. Though $400-500 looks very easy. Try to visualize after 6-7 properties. Now you've got hold of a property and you have now invested there. And then you have thrown in another 500 to the home inspector. It becomes so. Negotiate earlier, keeping all those things under check.
Once the property is sold conditionally, because here the scenario you're discussing is sold conditionally,
Yes,
negotiation is not an option.
it can work and it cannot work. Either way.
And I mean, there was a time when it could work. Today,
You don't
I
even
don't.
get that opportunity.
Number one. Number two, a home could be sitting in the market for 30 days.
Yes.
Nobody is looking at it.
And the moment you give an offer, there's another offer.
And it's accepted. Literally, there are agents and people sitting there waiting for your offer to fall through so they can grab it.
Yes.
And I have seen that in every case.
And to tell you frankly, the moment that sold conditional on the listing comes in over, interest is high.
Yes.
Now everyone is calling you.
And I mean, I think we've had this opportunity.
Yes.
And the other listing agent, I could hear it through your phone while you were discussing. They said, just give me a mutual release. I've got someone else. I do remember. They said, let's save time. You give me a mutual release. I've got a firm offer here.
Yes. So it can backfire. So it is good to negotiate upfront, taking into consideration some surprises are about to.
It also puts the seller in the right mind frame.
Yes.
Versus, the seller is also stuck, and then you're asking for even more discount, and now it's causing more headache than necessary.
Absolutely. Better to negotiate first. Okay, let's go to the next one. If the owner won't make the real estate repairs, then make sure you have enough cash to make them yourself or back out of the deal. Sort of, yes. I mean, go with your open eyes, no closed eyes, and expect, first of all, if it's a property which is more than 15-20 years, expect something coming up. If it is 50 or 100 years, expect everything coming up. If it's a downtown core, older neighborhood, you cannot imagine you touch something and it will come out. We have seen entire arena heads. Go ahead, Faisal. And at this particular moment of time, I would say, if you are looking at properties which needs fixing or may need repairs, have a contractor whom you know or has been referred to you. Show him the property on day one and get his expertise apart from the home inspector also. Everything, because see, if you're going to call someone from the yellow pages, you're doomed. You're done. And the thing is, if something goes wrong and you have no one to call to, you are, and those things will require within 24 hours notice, you will require. If the water leakage is there and you don't know how to close that, you will need someone who can take care of it. And if you do not know any contractor, you are calling from yellow pages and you are done. Closed for that night. You have had good experience with that. Go ahead, Faisal.
There are type of mortgages that will help you. if you have, there are certain documents required
Good one.
if the
Good one. Good one.
property requires work. So I would say to the buyers, don't be afraid by the amount of work. Just have good professionals on your side. Every problem has a solution.
Makes sense.
And I have seen, and this is, I'm speaking from experience, and not just general terms. I've seen agents that focus on the problem and all they can see is the problem. Then I've also seen agents that look at the problem and look at it as an opportunity to work something with it. And I've seen agents that look at a problem and go, "This is the solution for this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this." So there's entire arena. Um, it's just it just depends on picking the right professionals. There's problem everywhere. I've not seen one property that doesn't have a problem.
Faisal, people like us who are fixer-upper experts and things like that, if we see a problem, we see dollar signs.
I knew that was going to come up.
That is what we see. We know the more the problem, we are not even looking at a property which is already fixed up
Yeah,
because everyone is going to jump on it.
yeah,
We are looking at properties which have all the problems.
absolutely.
We know the team, we have the team, we can put it together. So if you are venturing into this particular format, have the team first with you. If you
Absolutely.
have the team, you are good to go. Even with the team, you will get surprises. But still, you are not running around figuring it out and trying to gather new people into the team whom you have never tried and tested. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what exactly is the next one she's picking up. If all goes as planned, sit through an R settlement, sign all the papers for the mortgage and the purchase, and get the keys to your real estate. Uh, it doesn't happen within an hour. It has its due course. The pre-approval will help you, the home inspection will help you, and your contractor teams will help you, and even your expertise in filtering out tenants will help you, and the right lawyers will help you. What the paralegals will help you, and that is when, if someone is coming to me and saying, like, okay, I'm buying a property where I would like to rent it out, my first thing is I'll give you a number of the paralegal, talk to him, and have a general discussion so that if the rent is not paid, you know which person to call and which not to call. You're not calling the tenant, you're calling the paralegal. And
I think there is. Go ahead.
well,
No, you finish your thought. I have something to say, but after you.
the paralegal, you once you have talked to him, he will give you some insights. He will tell you what to do. So now, if the tenant hasn't paid, there is no if button to no, I'm coming tomorrow, or something has happened, or this and that. They are expert story makers. They are storytellers, basically. Call the paralegal. Let him handle it. You know his charges. You should have kept those funds apart and act accordingly. Know the way to handle. I've also given them websites where you can find all the question and answers for the landlord and tenant. Even those ones which you cannot perceive are written there. They will come up with stories, Faisal, which you cannot even imagine in your thought process. And that is why. And it all doesn't happen within an hour. It takes you the entire sitting of homework. I was reading somewhere, Faisal, this is out of way, but I was reading somewhere. He says, this particular gentleman says, if I am giving a 1 hour task, I'll spend 50 minutes thinking about it and then act. And that is what you do. If you're trying to venture into real estate, trying to purchase a property and rent it out, get your team in place. You, before even something comes, you know the whole process and you act accordingly. Until and because see, if you don't do that, everything is money that has to be gone out of the pocket. Right, fine. Sorry about it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I just remembered an instance where I think it was last summer or something. You asked, you introduced me to one of your clients'
Yes, yes, yes.
children, or
Last year. Yes,
yes,
their children. Yes,
yeah, and they wanted to rent it, and
yes.
um, I mean, you've connected me with few of them in the past, but this one specific, um, I believe I was talking to him for over an hour while I was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And even after that, the conversation continued.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one thing, he said something very it amazed me. He said, I've gone through everything Manoj has given me, all resources, all websites, everything. But you laid it out so simply that I can now confidently be a landlord and not be scared to one.
Absolutely.
Uh, and I said, it's over 10 years of experience. Um, and I said, when I started, Manoj helped me there then too. Like he gave me all the resources, everything. But then there's theory and then there is practical.
True.
And you add those together and you've gotten theory from him, you've got some practical and theory from me, and you will have your own experiences
Absolutely.
on top, because everyone's experience is different. So being a landlord, it's definitely nothing is easy, to be honest. And anytime someone says that, I say simplest thing like cooking is not easy for me. I have to follow a recipe step by step to make it
And
happen.
then goof up.
And right, so
Yes.
it's not easy for me. So
No.
yeah, so it's nothing is easy.
Yes. And I mean, I have evicted 4 tenants till now. We have a very, very good experience. We can walk you through exactly how to go into the rental market and what all not to do. And if things go wrong, what exactly
What?
is to do.
Yeah.
These were, and to tell you frankly, none of these ones were mine. I was helping out others. And because when I start, I go through the whole 9 yards. I make each and every step is covered. And if something goes wrong, this is the phone number you call, not this person that you call. Hey, he's not your friend. It's a business deal. Lots of things, lots of inputs have to be. Okay. Next one is clean, repair, and remodel the property so it's ready to be occupied. Yes. Make sure that uh, you fix it up. You will get more in. And these days, you have Home Depot, uh, what exactly? Rona is there. Is Rona there or no anymore?
I've still seen some stores. I'm not sure if they're
Lowe's is
still
there. There
yeah,
are these
Lowe's.
big stores and they have their credit cards and you don't have to pay for the first 5, 6 months if that's right or no.
There are many of them that have that
Yes,
option.
get those things fixed up. Use those credit cards. Get all those things in line. And then we also have a program where we can get you cash plus purchase improvement. cashback for purchase and improvement. So you can use all those particular things, fix up the property, you get better rent, and take all the pictures before and after. And so that if something they are messed up, you have all of those things addressed. What do you have to add to?
No, I'm in agreement.
Okay, let's cover the next one. Okay, deal with contractors who don't show up or do shoddy repair work. That is one thing. No matter how much you know, you cannot help it. They, until and unless you know them very well, unless until you have a great team, they are they will come and go. So don't show up or do shoddy repair work. You have to make sure that you have a good team before you start. Have good references. Have someone whom you can trust and who it can be taken to the next level. Your experience with contractors, for you. We have had the whole 9 yards.
I will say in one word, hashtag no comments.
They are all over the place. They are all over the place. I don't know what to do. You cannot, like, by the time you find someone good, and then down the line you call them after some time, they're gone.
Yeah.
They don't stick around. Somehow there is very difficult. They stick around. I don't know what's their profession there. Anyway, okay, let's pick up the next part here. Create lease agreements, arrange for a service to check credit ratings of potential tenants, and set up bookkeeping system for the property. Absolutely a must. Be thorough, and it is in your interest to have good lease agreement, thorough lease agreement. Who's taking care of the chattels? What happens with the repairs? Subleases, Airbnb. Uh, don't make it a grow house and other stuffs in there. Lots of jugglery is there. And also, if you have a paralegal on board, run it through him. He may add a few clauses. If you have a lawyer, run it through him. He may have someone. If you have a real estate professional, get his expertise there and add those particular things. Okay,
Absolutely.
Adnan has to go, and thank you, Adnan. Thank you for joining till now. But feel free to be in touch with us. We'll be more than happy to answer any of your queries. And he is finding it very interesting. So thank you again for that. Again, Faisal, we are able to chat and talk and do everything. We are picking up how to handle these webinars. Go ahead, Faisal. What do you have to say?
We are being COVID friendly.
Appreciate that. Okay. Now we are almost reaching the halfway mark. I'll try to pick up two at the same time so that we can cover it. Advertise the property for rent to rent potential tenants on the phone. You are an expert on that. Yes, you have to do an advertising, and you have to become expert in advertising, and you have to make sure where to advertise and where not to advertise. And then vet them out 100%. We should have their rental agreement. We should have their office job letters. We should have their references checked up. We should have had their credit checked up. Go through the whole 9 yards. Previous landlords and everywhere they are coming from, and friends and relatives. Double check their references. Double check their job where they are working, and they may have bad credit. Not a problem. Till the time they are honest about it. We all go through phases, and they should be able to become. Go ahead, Faisal.
Yep. No, that's exactly what it is. It's just sort. You have to go through a lot You have to go get through so many to get the right one, the right fit.
And also, why don't you update about the advertising because you're an expert there.
It depends on where you advertise. You have to think of backwards as to who do you want as your ideal tenant, and then work backwards where they are searching, what will be their criteria, where they are, and so on, and advertise accordingly. For example, advertising on Facebook Marketplace gets you a certain type of tenant. And when I say that, I mean in a broad spectrum, the level of income, the level of credit, the level of referral. There is a certain threshold. Then, if you're uh, advertising on Kijiji, it's a bit different. If you're advertising on rent rental website, it's different. If you're
Great
advertising
list.
on, yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. But then if you go on viewit.ca or something, that's a different type of tenant. So you really have to think about what type of tenant you want, how long, and go from there. And when I say type, I mean, just general. Who is your ideal tenant? Who would you want as an ideal tenant? Work from there.
The screening process has to be without emotions. Do not fall for their glib. They are some of those ones who are nightmares are excellent talkers. They have stories to tell you. They will tell you one after the other. Oh, this went wrong, that went wrong, this happened, that happened. They are master tenants, and once they get into your property, you will then regret tenant from hell is written right on top of his head. So we have to be very, very careful. Okay, let's cover the next. Meet with the tenants to show the property, review the prospective tenants' rental application, credit report, and form the references. We just covered that one. Waste a
Mhm.
lot of time with potential tenants who don't show up or are not financially stable. Select a tenant for the rental. Okay. Now, all of those things we have just covered, and the bottom line here is that screen them thoroughly. Do
Properly.
not miss out anything. You miss out, you will pay for it down the line. And even with all those screening, you may end up into a mess. But try to visualize you haven't done the screening, you haven't done your homework, you fell into the trap, the property was lying vacant, you're getting desperate, you just picked up anyone there. You are now going to go through another film.
Yeah.
It is a must that you have to go through a thorough screen. Okay, I'll be very fast. Meet the tenant, sign the lease, deposit payments, walk you through the condition of the property, and record each and every flaw in the home, before and after photographs that we have discussed, and the property conditions. Field phone calls at inopportune times when there is a problem, a clogged drain, a broken window, broken stove, etc. Arrange with a repair person to make fixed, etc. Call the tenant when the rent is late. Okay. Now, a couple of things in here, we've already highlighted those ones. That even before you start the rental contract or anything else there, make sure if this goes wrong, who is to be taken care of. And for up to $50 or $100, it is the tenant's responsibility. After that, he may come into the picture. And if something gets broken, who takes care of it? Because they're not going to, you don't want them to be throwing things around because some of those appliances may be old and they may be just throwing it off in such a way that they need a new ones. No, you cannot allow those particular things. So make sure you are addressing those particular ones. Go ahead, Faisal. I'm going to go to the next part if you want to add anything to that.
In the there are types of leases where you can actually write down what's broken, what's working, so on, so forth. Sorry, like if there are any damages that are visible. That way, it's all written out and clear, and speak about responsibility. Whose responsibility is to change the light bulb?
Yes.
um, Stuff like that. Snow removal, grass cutting, many things.
And then the timing. Like you cannot call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Call me at regular hours. Those are also the things that will come into the picture down the line.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I have called the tenant when the rent is late. You just maybe have a one reminder. The second reminder should be going through the paralegal because this can become a nightmare to have.
I suggest, yeah,
Even the
I
first one,
suggest as soon as the first one is late, you have to give the notice,
that is there.
because every notice is how the landlord tenant board works.
Okay.
It does not work. It's a business relationship. It's not a friendship.
Okay. So even if the tenant is late, just send them a notice through the which notice, end one or which one is that?
I'm not sure. There is a notice that says you're late on rent. You have these many days to catch up. And when you have a tenant that is consistently late, the landlord tenant board looks at it as a pattern, um, and it's important to establish that,
That
because if you
format.
go
Okay.
back and say, oh, 2 years this tenant has been paying me 5 days late every time, it's your word against their word, and it just doesn't work. And when it's not on a paper, it's not on a paper.
Okay. Makes sense. So have the paper trail there.
Everything.
Okay. Next is evict the tenant when they fall months behind in the rent. Right away, follow with the. You cannot evict. You have to go through the process there. So
Yeah.
it is not an easy cup of tea. You have to go. You cannot evict them just like that. You have to go through the process and go through the whole 9 yards. Go through the landlord and tenant board, and then. So try to imagine someone has given you a rent for first 2 3 months. It may be going. I'm giving you today, I'm giving you tomorrow, and things like that. And by the time you reach landlord and tenant board, that may be another month or two. And then if you are successful by chance, then another month or two for eviction. So by the time the whole exercise is done, it's 6 months down the line. Be very careful. So you have to, and I would also suggest here, go and do a sitting in a landlord and tenant board. So you exactly know what is to be done there. Have a attend a few hearings in there. You will get a good cup of tea. What exactly how this whole process works. I'll share something with you in the landlord and tenant board. Some of these lawyers, they know what they are saying, talking. The judge, like, oh, he'll give it to you. Don't worry. Let's give you another date. He'll give it to you. The lawyer knew what he was doing. He said, sir, we have done this another number of times. He's exhausted all this. I need the answer today. After literally, like he had to make the judge move and act on it. Otherwise, they are very complacent. Everyone works for the tenant. No one is working for the landlord. It's a different format there. So you have to be very, and that is why these 5 6 months will just look like it happened yesterday. And some of these tenants use the advantage for this reason they take it back. What do you have to add to that?
You've seen more than me. I'll let you.
I'll let you take it over there. Huh? Okay. When the tenant moves out and leaves the property a mess, you need to go through the entire process again. Pay the monthly bills and maintain the financial records. These are some of the things. Yes, they look rosy. They are not. I'll add something to it. Let's say suppose What happens if the tenant, and I have seen that, I had to experience that, they left their stuff in there. Faisal, on the day they said, like, okay, after all this notices and blah blah, eviction with the landlord and tenant code, they said, okay, on this particular day we are leaving. They gave you the key also. Now, when you go enter, they've left their stuff there, and you can't throw their stuff out.
30 days.
No, you have to wait till the time the eviction inspector will come. He will have a look at it, and they will give you their own dates. We are busy for another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Maybe in fourth week we'll give you the time. And on that particular day, at that particular hour, if you're not there, you're toast. So you will be waiting 2 hours before, and they'll be 2 hours late. So 3, 4 hours we just sit out there outside there. Bring your chair, bring your tea. Sit there. They will come. They will see everything. They will give you in writing. Yes, you can throw this. Now you have to also pay for throwing their stuff out, and also make sure you take ample photographs. Write it all down so that if they come back and say, "Where is my $5,000, $6,000 stuff?" you can at least go have a paper trail that I did everything.
Yeah.
Really, really, very difficult there. Okay, how many minutes are left? Or you're already late?
Yeah,
You're already late?
I am.
Okay.
We can just finish that off.
Okay. Uh, if you hire a property manager, it's not always much better. We know that. If you choose to flip the property instead of renting it out, you have a host of other problems. We know that. Then flipping, pay all the expenses until the property sells, and then go through the process again. Okay. That brings us to the end of it. And she has covered quite a lot of good points. And also, we were able to add to our own material and experience there. So, in the end, make sure if you are getting into this format, just be very, very careful. You add it, and then you can take a leave, Faisal, and then I'll take it over for the rent.
I will say this: have the right team.
Homework and writing.
Homework is one thing, but when you have the right team, everything falls in place.
True.
When you don't have the
Absolutely.
right team, doesn't matter how much homework you've done, it does not work.
Well said.
Thank you very much, audience.
Thank you,
I
Faisal,
appreciate.
for your time and expertise
Thank you
again
again.
there. Really appreciate your time there. And
Thank you.
now I will take it over. Thank you again, Faisal.
Thank you.
And before you go, Faisal is an expert with uh, uh, credit repair and mortgages. And in case if anyone is struggling with credit repair, Faisal has done an amazing job there. I will be taking them down to your websites. So you are good there, Faisal. And we'll
Thank you,
see
sir.
you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you in 2 weeks again.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you again,
Thank you.
Faisal.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. And that takes over. Let me take you over to the article of the day, and that is where we are on our agenda of the day, ladies and gentlemen. So we had some good expertise review by the mortgage broker, and he had to leave by 8. He stayed around another 8 or 9 minutes extras with us. Thank you again to him. And I will now, so we have covered this particular one, which is the article of the day, and I will be taking you over to the topic of the day today. Rent to own homes, is it a win-win for landlords? And I can assure you that it is a major win for the landlords. Okay, let's go dive into this particular full topic here. So we are going to cover and whether it is a win-win for landlords or it is a risk for the tenant buyer. And most of the time, the reason I'm trying to explain it to you on this particular format is So you can comprehend the entire spectrum of rent-to-own homes. What exactly goes on in there? So once you understand the whole picture, you may be very comfortable with where things are, or you're not going into a particular program without knowing the intrinsic detail of the program. Okay. So now let me explain it to you. What exactly, first of all, is the difference between rent-to-own homes and versus buying? Whether you are buying or doing rent-to-own homes, there are three components to it. Okay, so two of the components are same, and the third one is different. Okay, so whether you are doing rent-to-own or buying, the income component remains the same. So that means on the basis of your income, you get qualified either 4 times for a condo as a thumb rule, or 4.5 times your annual gross income as a thumb rule for the property that you can purchase. So let's say suppose your income is close to around $100,000. So for a condo, you will get around $400,000, and it can slightly vary depending upon the maintenance fees of that property and the property taxes of that particular property of that condo. And so, but that is how, so the rent to own and the buying process, the income component is not changed. The second component is the down payment. The down payment component in both the scenarios is not changing. Yes, you may have some programs for rent to own, which they may be taking a less than down payment initially, but in our format, our investors are generally looking at a similar format, say as the buying format. So in both those scenarios, and the income component is not changing, and the down payment component is not changing. The third component, which is the credit score, that is the one by which, if the credit score is bad, you do rent to own till the time you can procure a mortgage and buy that particular property. So that is the only difference between rent to own homes versus buying. So they both run parallel in all aspects of it. In the case of a down payment, if the credit score is good, then banks have a program for cash back, and so you can also get away with low or zero down. Whereas in a rent to own, you will have to come up with the entire down payment upfront on your own. So that is another aspect to it. So once you have understood that, let me take you over to the next round of how it is win-win for landlords. And hereby, I'm going to pick up 5 pointers that which shows you that rent-to-own homes is a win-win for landlords. Okay, let's head over to the first pointer. Now, the tenant from hell issue is resolved. Let's see how is that equation resolved. The tenant fails to keep the agreement terms, you can throw him out. If the tenant misses a payment, it's a very thorough contract. So the contract is watertight. So that is the reason when you go through this particular one with us, we will make sure each party knows what is involved here. So now, if you're a landlord, your first issue is, will he pay me the rent on time or not? In this particular case, the landlord has a very good hold on it because he has a substantial down payment of this. So he is on a good standing here. That in case if you fail, if you miss out the payment, if you stop paying the rental amounts, he is slightly covered. So his problem that I may get a tenant from hell is fairly resolved. And that is why we say it's a win-win for him because he has been able to address one of those particular things, which is quite a task whenever you're trying to rent out a particular property. So that is why we call it the first pointer as a win-win for land. Let's head over to the second one and see what's going on in the repairs issue. Now, again, we said in the contract, most of the time the repairs are done by the tenant. So all those particular issues are absolutely resolved on day one. If something goes wrong, if you need to do some uh, decoration, if you need to do some renovations, these are all part of your own format. You're not like adjusting some rent in there, and if you, it is your own house. You are investing in your future home. So as far as the landlord is concerned, his repair, so his concern is always, what if they call me tomorrow for repairs? This has gone wrong, that has gone wrong, and now I have to fix this one up, or this is there is a wear and tear there, and so all those things from the point of view of the landlord is taken care of. Tenant pays for all the repairs. Tenant pays for all chattels repairs. So appliances have gone off, something has gone, you will have to go and procure your own ones because the contract may be written accordingly. All repairs to be done as per code, and that is also in your contract, and that is not a headache of the landlord anymore. So he will have all those clauses in there, just making sure that it is addressed. So from his point of view, as he will not be further thinking, will be called during the night for repairs and things like that. He knows that the tenant has to take care of it and whatever they are. So that headache of his is also gone. And so that is why we call it, it's a win-win for landlord. So he does not have to think more in terms of getting some properties with it. Third, and the interesting one here is, let's see what it comes to with. Property misuse. That is also quite a challenging one for the landlord. What if they misuse my property? Now, we have seen many a times that in the end, they found, the landlords have found that the tenants have made their property a grow house. No more. You have those in your contracts. And if you misuse it, you will be evicted and all your down payment will go, and all the funds that you were giving extra per month, they also will be gone. Landlords also have this nightmare issues with them, that what they sublease it. Suddenly you get your property being advertised on Airbnb and being subleased, and a tenant is managing 7, 8 other properties, and he's leasing out those particular properties, and you are the owners of those ones. And he's not only leasing the entire format, he may be leasing room by room, and that's a nightmare waiting to happen for the landlord. So the property does not get misused. Those particular issues are also taken care. Sublease or Airbnb. The tenant has not made this as a prostitution den. Meth lab. Wild parties are running in the property. No, those things have to be addressed. And the misuse has to be curtailed down because the tenant has a lot of things at stake here. So those things should be addressed, uh, uh, has been addressed as a check mark for a to-do list, and for the landlord, those things have been addressed. So we call it that it's a landlord's win-win again. Third win here. Let's go for the fourth win and see whatever what is the next one for the tenant. This is a very, very good one for the landlord. See, whenever the tenant is trying to procure a property in a rent-to-own program, the tenant has to come down with some initial funds, and it can help the landlord in order to purchase the property. So you have almost given him half the portion or even more than half the portion, as the down payment. So it will help him in the initial deposit, and that is what we are. And further down the line, you are giving him rental amounts plus additional amounts, and so that becomes his cash flow. So he's again in the winner situation. And tenant pays for utilities. So basically, it is the headache is all gone. That you don't have to wait somehow that so much of utilities bill has procured down the line because the tenant had stopped paying the property utilities. So those are some of the headaches which have been taken care of the landlord, and that is why we again call him as a fourth win for the landlord. Next and the last win is the fifth one, and let's see how does this one. Profits are locked. Now, there is an appreciation price. So every year there is a 4 or 5% appreciation on the property. So now you may be buying a property which has a purchase price of $500,000 today, and in 5 years you may be buying it for around $630,000. So the final option price is locked in. His profits are locked. If he doesn't get that profit, he won't let it go. So he now, even if the property value has gone down, you still have to pay him that much. And let's say suppose by any rhyme or reason you are not able to close the property. The property may have appreciated that much during that period of time, and he will be able to benefit anyway on that particular property, and he also gets to keep your down payment and the additional funds that you've given over the period of time. So that is another master stroke, and we call it another big win for the landlord. And so these are some of the reasons why we call in a rent to own program it is a win-win for landlord. So make sure you understand this when you are indulging in a rent to own program, that you had to indulge because your credit was not good, and you are in a situation, in a worst case scenario situation, when this was the only option left on the table and you went for it. And so even before you indulge, you know it is a win for him, and I still will be able to work with it and see how you still have a good house to live in and enjoy the benefits once you close the property. Okay, so now that brings us to the end of our rent to own homes program. And the reason we call it SMART is because we walk you through all the ups and downs, all the 9 yards of this particular program. And that is one of the reasons that we call it as a SMART program. And by doing all this, we have made this program also very, very smart for you. So that is the reason that we call this as a smart rent to own program. Okay, now let me head over and see if I can take you to two of our websites of Faisal Garcia, and then I will be able to guide you on some of my websites, and then call it a day. Okay, this is the website for Faisal Garcia, where you can actually go and get the best mortgage rates. He's quite an expert with mortgages. He works for Dominion Lending, and that is his website, which is called faisalgarcia.com. And let me take you over to his next website, which is called creditrepairnow.ca, which is one of his another website which has done wonders, and he is doing wonders with repairing your credit. And if you are on the edge, take his help, and he can improve your credit so that you can get a mortgage right away, and you don't have to indulge in any other program. Now, this is my website. Let me take you there, and it is called manojatri.com / is the you will go through the various one. And this is the page most of you may have come over and registered for the webinar. And this is one of the pages that you can get lots of your queries addressed, or feel free to give me a call. And these are some of the, you can search all the listings like real estate agents here, free online home search. Next one is we buy houses. We have lots of investors who are keen to act on cash if there is any deal that are there in the market. And if you are in a bind, feel free to give us a call. We'll be more than happy to pick it up on those particular ones, those investors. So we buy houses, any GTA area, any condition. Next is the power of sale or the bank foreclosure properties. And I have the whole list in the entire GTA and suburbs area. Feel free to email me and I'll be more than happy to provide you the same. The next one is zero down with the cashback program. So yes, give me a call. I'll be happy to walk you through how you can buy with low or zero down, and with the bank's cashback program, RRSPs, lines of credit, TFSAs, and other formats. And so that in case if you're struggling to put something together, we'll be able to do that. If you need more information on rent to own homes, feel free to be in touch with us. We'll be able to guide you. And again, regarding the webinar, we do it every alternative on Monday from 7 p.m. onwards. And depending upon how long the webinar goes, and we try to keep it within 1 hour. Most of the time, it is 1.5 hours, close to that. Next is the how much is my house worth instantly. You can give us a call. I'll be more than happy to put the comparative market analysis or free home evaluation for you and get you and also walk you through some of the tips and tricks that you can make more money and help you out with getting more dollars for your very same home that you are wanting to indulge maybe on your own or want some other inputs from us. Next is this particular website, which is called my newsletter website, and it is gta-news.manojatri.ca. And the link is there in the emails that I've emailed it to you. And you can come and subscribe yourself to this particular one, whereby I curate 8 to 10 articles on a daily basis and email it to you. And this gives you a heads up what is going on in the market, where things are, and where they are going. So you get a daily input of GTA and surrounding areas and whatever is going on in the market. Here are also some of my other websites and my social links here. They're also in the description, and the listings are also in the description, and you can go through them or feel free to call me through. I'll be more than happy to guide you there accordingly. So, in the end, that brings us to the end of tonight's webinar. And if there are any queries, I will be more than happy to take it. If not, then please feel free to be in touch with me, and I will be more than happy to guide you for buying, selling, investing, fixer-uppers, power of sale information, cashback mortgages, uh, interest-free mortgages, and I have, as you've seen, experts, and will be able to guide you completely. Okay, with this, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time and here, and I will be in touch with you again in 2 weeks' time on the alternative Monday, 22nd of April, 7 p.m. onwards, and look forward to be with you at that time. Talk to you later.